evening and welcome to Panther Politics, your main source for Georgia State political news. I'm Mikayla Newton.
And I'm Cecil Hannibal. Coming up, we have the first look at this year's SGA debates. And a new law has been passed that could affect the entire real estate market of Metro Atlanta.
But first, if you've been on GSU's campus long enough, you've seen the large amounts of protest groups on campus. Some students have had concerns about these groups harassing them on their way to class. Georgia's House of Representatives passed a new bill this week that is trying to stop visitors from heckling college students and guest speakers. The bill was drafted by Republicans in an effort to decrease the amount of protests they receive during college visits. It will require Georgia's public colleges and universities to create less restrictive policies for groups when trying to get permits to speak on campus.
You know, Kennesaw State actually just had 2 student groups sue them last week.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate. There's so many things going on at Kennesaw's campus.
Kennesaw has a lot going on, but former Governor Zell Miller has passed away. For college students, you may not have a fond memory of him as a politician, but we all know about the Zell Miller Scholarship. Governor Miller is most known for his creation of the lottery-funded pre-K program and Hope Scholarship. At his funeral, Presidents George W. Bush, Jimmy Carter, and Bill Clinton shared their favorite memories of the late governor. His executive state funeral will be held on Wednesday. You know, Miller's grandson, Brian Miller, actually read a letter that Governor Miller wrote to the family. Inside, it was 14 lessons he wanted to share with his family. Can I share one with you, Mikayla?
Yes, please.
So he said, do not be afraid to fail while going after something you really want. You will always learn from it. Never give up. Persistence will overcome everything else. I guarantee it.
Those are words to live by.
The only words to live by.
If you didn't hear the SGA debate this week, you definitely missed something special. Coming up, we have our very own political analyst ready to give you the juicy details of this year's campus elections. But first, gentrification has been a serious issue in the Metro Atlanta area for the past 10 years.
Atlanta's population continues to grow, and so does the development of new properties in historical areas of the city. With property taxes on the rise, longtime homeowners are being pushed out of their own neighborhoods. Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms has passed a new bill that could solve the affordable housing issue.
Building a city for everyone means ensuring that those who have roots in our communities can remain in their homes, remain in these communities, and also live with dignity.
Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms revealed a new citywide initiative to strengthen affordable housing opportunities for low-income residents in the city of Atlanta.
The 3 new programs that we are announcing today will enable critical health and safety repairs for homes owned and occupied by our most vulnerable residents.
Those who qualify include seniors, veterans, disabled heads of households, and families who have lived in their home for more than 5 years. With growing developments in the inner city, such as the Beltline and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, gentrification is at an all-time high. William Reed has lived in his home for 40 years. He's raised his family in this house, and even though his property taxes are rising, Mr. Reed refuses to sell his property.
No, I got to have somewhere to live myself.
President of the Atlanta Housing Authority, Catherine Buell, says the program could directly benefit residents like Mr. Reed.
It also supports the retention of generational ownership by helping low-income residents to repair and retain ownership of their home.
Longtime owners like Mr. Reed are excited to hear about the new initiative.
I have a few things that need to be, taken care of. I may give him a call myself.
Love Mr. Reed, and I hope he takes full advantage of this new bill. GSU's The Signal hosted their annual SGA presidential debate. Take a look.
Is passionate about working with this program and continue the legacy that President Gray has set for our university and our Student Government Association. I want to continue to serve students and continue to do my job as a student leader.
Okay, so I think I'm the best candidate because I have the highest experience in terms of being the only member on executive board for university-wide student government. I also think I'm the best candidate because I am actively trying to make change on campus. Right now, I'm doing things in addition to campaigning. I'm not only going out there to make sure that I talk to you and learn your concerns, I'm also making sure that I do and solve them.
I believe that the best leader is the biggest servant. And I have been serving SGA for 2 years now. I'm the only candidate on this stage who has served on both Perimeter and Atlanta. And I've realized in both SGAs the work that it takes to serve everybody equally. I know the problems that we face in the future, and as a candidate, I have actively worked several times to do initiatives for each campus and to make sure that everyone feels included. On top of that, my biggest goal is to serve everybody, the student, which is all of you.
I have here with me GSU's top political analyst, Chip Matthews. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
So you attended the SGA debate this year, and what are some of the things that you noticed this year that really stood out to you, and which candidate do you think won the debate this year?
Well, one thing that stood out to me is each candidate touched briefly on student involvement and different ways that they wanted to get students involved, which I really think strengthened each of their platforms because that's who they're doing it for. In reference to who I feel really succeeded, who was the most successful, I would say definitely it was Cy Madali. Things that stood out was his poise. You know, even though he's a freshman, he seemed really mature. And being a freshman actually plays into his benefit. His platform revolved around sustainable environmental solutions, student leadership, safety, and improving in student involvement. And he's actively seeking that change. He received an approval for a compost project at the Greek housing, which I think really touches on sustainable environment. And he also officialized a improved bus tracking system, which he partnered with the computer science department, which shows that he can network and partner with other advocates in order to get things done. Like I said before, he is a freshman, so he will be in it for the long haul, as he said. He's not worried about graduating. He's here to stick things out.
So each of these candidates have a lot of involvement in SGA. They've been involved with it for years now. So Franklin Patterson, he's actually a senior. Do you think that this can play with his disadvantage?
No, he has experience. He has been involved with the SGA for a couple of years now, so that definitely helps him out. And his platform is pretty solid. He's trying to increase student involvement again, job opportunities, and ending sex trafficking, which is a big issue here in Atlanta. And the way he's going about that, I think, is powerful too. He wants to have more protests. He wants to get students involved. He wants to raise awareness in reference to sex trafficking. And I really like that he is interested in creating a tradition. You know, he's been here he's a senior. I've been here, I'm a senior. And one thing I've noticed along with him is that there is no tradition. So the fact that he said that he wants to get together with staff, he wants to get together with students and with people on the SGA and come up with a tradition, I like that.
So with Terry Fye, our last candidate, one of the things that he spoke about was student involvement, and he just wants the students to have fun. So what about Terry Fye stood out most to you?
Well, with Terry Fye, he's very charismatic. He has a way with his words. He is a speaker of the Dunwoody, the Senate of the Dunwoody Center, the campus out there. And one thing that he said that stuck out was his words speak for themselves. You know, well, actually, I'm sorry, his work speaks for itself. In reference to student involvement, he, along with other SGA members at the Dunwoody campus, they take place in the cafeteria and give students an opportunity to come and sit down with them and discuss issues that are on their minds and come up with solutions. You know, and one thing he just kept saying was he's present. You know, he doesn't mind going from the Dunwoody campus to the Claxton campus to downtown. He said that he never gets tired, and he wants, if he's elected, he wants to mandate that senators have service hours where they make themselves available to do community service or, service for the school.
Okay, so out of all of the candidates, Terry Fye, Cy Madali, and Franklin Patterson, which one do you think is going home with the win?
I think you know the answer to that.
Okay, so Cy Madali.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I just want to leave you with one thing that stuck out with each candidate because, it was a pretty long debate.
Right.
And each one of them had one thing that really stood out. For Madali, it was the fact that he said he wanted blended resources. I'm a film student here, and I know that sometimes when I want to use resources that other schools have, I can't access those. So he wants to change that so that as a student, you can access everything here on campus. I think that's pretty powerful. Again, with Terry Fye, he is a speaker. Some politicians don't have a way with words, and sometimes that gets them in a lot of trouble. So I think if he is elected, he is well-spoken, he will be able to get his message across. And with Mr. Patterson, he's focusing on being a servant. He kept saying that, I'm a servant, I'm here to serve. And I really think that's powerful, and that stood out to me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chip. We really appreciate your insight.
No problem.
So that's all the political news we have for today. You can follow us on Panther Politics on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Panther Politics with Mikayla Newton, for more updates. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Mikayla Newton. We'll see you next time.